What is going on, Herd? Welcome back to another Black Sheep TV production! Today we continue our Does It Drift video series where we purchase vehicles in-game, build those cars up to drift spec, and then test those cars rigorously to see if they have the ability to be drift cars. And today is a special one because we got on our hands the one, the only, the brand new car in the game. And the one, I always want to say predecessor, but I looked up the meaning to that word, but it's not the proper use of that word, okay? So it's like, I don't know, there's a word along those lines that I'm looking for, but it is the, damn it, controller. We're looking at the old model. Alright, we're looking at the old model. We ordered it up. It has yet to come, and you know how we've been treating these new Does It Drifts. You know, we are doing the drift build within. I am hoping that that is my car. So $885,000, guys. $885K. It broke the bank. I had to sell two of my biggest, baddest cars on, pretty much my two big, bad cars left on this. I am dead broke on this account now. It's not there yet, is it?
I'll get back to it then.
Now it is. Yeah, I'm actually probably going to release this one before I'm going to release the other one that actually has the drift build in it. Alright, so this car is definitely different than what I expected. At first it looks like an old Mustang. Alright guys, so let's make this a drift build. Which miracle? There's a lot of miracles that need to be performed on this thing. Alright, so I don't do the armor, I don't do the brakes. What do we got for bumper options on this? So since I'm low on money, I always go through, I do all my performance upgrades first, get those out of the way so I know exactly what I'm dealing with. So I do the engine, the turbo, the suspension as well. Yep, suspension, transmission, and the turbo. So we're going to be dealing with just over 100,000. So we'll throw some wheels on there right off the pop. Well, I don't even know exactly what we want to do. Let's go up here first. All of the aesthetics that you choose to do to the car are really going to be up to you guys. Once you do the performance upgrades, you lower the suspension, then it's up to you to figure out how to stance it. Well, it's not up to you. You're watching the correct video right now, my friends. Okay, so let's figure out what color we're running on this thing. Classic. Let's do a metallic. Metallic bronze. That's looking hot. It's looking real good. I'm telling you, every time, this is my problem. This is my big problem here, is I never know what the heck color to take. It's an old school car. I feel like it's just going to be kind of like more of an old school paint job on it. Digging the olive green. Just to give it a little flake, you can do a silver in there. Yeah, we're keeping the trim color alone. We're leaving that alone. Leaving that alone. Roll cage. It is a drift car, right? We'll do a roll cage. Alright, now you don't want to mess with the spoiler as much as I would love to put one of those spoilers on there right there just because of the stickers on it. Not gonna happen. Suspension we already purchased, got that. So it's really wheels and windows. Let's throw our window smoke on there. We'll go with muscle on it, huh? Yeah, we'll do muscle. I wanted to do I don't know, what looks better? Honestly, I feel like this looks better, more drifty. Drifty. I'm making up new words every time I make a video. It's good stuff. That's what we do. Ooh, that looks nice. I like the look of that. I do indeed. We're gonna rock that. It's affordable. Unique. Alright. So do we have lights? Like, oh, we do. Ooh, she sounds mean. Well, I think the best thing to do right now at this point in time is get this thing to the track and let's see how she performs. Sports classics, that's pretty much what I assumed, yeah. Alright guys, we brought it to a drift park setup, gymkhana course, track, however you want to really refer to this. I always refer to this as more of a course or a drift park more than anything. You can kind of just make what you want out of it. Doesn't kind of go backwards on it, especially if you're riding by yourself. I kind of just started drifting, not really remembering, but we need to figure out if this thing stances first off the bat. Alright, that's a big thing. You might think a vehicle doesn't drift and then you stance it, and guess what? She drifts. So, just standard. Alright, let's go to the other side of the front just to see, since it does stance normally without blowing up. Let's see if it stances normally in the front without smoking. I don't see any smoke coming from it. Let's go to the rear. So far so good. Last one, and this is usually the biggest problem child because the gas tank is usually on this side. Let's see. Fingers crossed. We are stanced, guys. First shot. Okay, so significantly more slippery. So once I got it down and once I figured out where that e-brake needs to be pressed, we got it going. Now, no, I don't double clutch. If you guys are just... Now, if this is one of the first Does It Drifts you guys are watching, since this is a newly released vehicle, first off, thanks for tuning into the channel. I do appreciate you. Make sure to leave a like if you do enjoy this video. Thank you for that. I do not personally double clutch as of this time because, first off, this is the way that I learned to drift. So I drift in the single gear drifting technique. I'll tell you one thing, guys, if this car was in the muscle car class, this thing would be a monster. And I'm not going to take anything away from it because it's not in the muscle car class. I'm just saying that this would be blowing out a lot of the muscle cars. Oof. I need to get it down, though. So immediately my brain was like, oh, man, you got to get out of here. You got to go put a spoiler on this thing. It's too slippery. But then it shifts really easy. So you need to be on it for the shifting. So what we're going to do before we give it a grade is we are going to go put a spoiler on it and see if it acts any different. Well, it will act different, but we're going to see how much different she acts with that spoiler on there. I'm learning right now how to incorporate in a few double clutching techniques into my single gear drifting style. And that's helping. So like right here, I'll just double clutch around this. Still tap that e-brake once halfway around. And I'm not going to refer to it as double clutching, guys, although I did. If I can catch myself, it's not double clutching to me, it's clutch kicking. So if you ever hear me refer to clutch kicking, that's what I'm talking about, is what the community refers to as double clutching. It's not a proper term at all, anywhere near a proper term. Neither is clutch kicking, but it's the term that they're trying to get. You don't double clutch in drifting, you clutch kick in drifting. Yeah, it was a mistake by whoever incorporated that in or implemented that in or whoever made that fad catch on. So let's take this thing back over to the Los Santos Customs. I want to see if adding a spoiler makes it better or worse. I take that back. I kind of realized why they called it clutch kicking, because it comes from the racing community, not the drift community. Double clutching in the racing term, it does kind of make sense. You're immediately getting into the high RPMs without any type of lag due to everything syncing up properly. So yeah, double clutching makes sense there. If you don't know what double clutching is versus clutch kicking, go check out the Why I Do Not Double Clutch video. That should be coming out, well, it should be out tomorrow actually. Or whenever you're watching this video, it should be coming out or out already. Almost sold my car. Alright, so we are putting on a spoiler here. That is our deed here. I already said which one I like. I like this one. Alright, that's the one that looks good, so that's the one we use. Costs a lot, but whatever. You can tell it is a classic sports car, though, just by the way it sounds. There's no, like, muscle car engine in it. It's a sports car, an old sports car. I just gotta take a second to get used to this thing because I got used to it without the spoiler on there. Now it's a different animal right now. It really is. I can't tell if it's better or worse though. How do you want this thing to react? Do you want it to be more stickier and touchy, or do you want it to be a little bit more forgiving? If you want it to be a little bit more forgiving and, you know, a little bit more set up, because this thing, if I don't keep it at the angle, it straightens out on me, and then I gotta like re-engage the drift. And so I would definitely suggest trying it without a spoiler first, for sure, without a spoiler. If you don't like exactly how it handles, you think it's a little bit too slippery and slidey, then go try out that spoiler. But I've gotten a pretty good idea. I'm going to be judging it without a spoiler, or I'm going to be judging it just as the vehicle itself. Who cares if you put a spoiler or spoiler on it? I'm going to be grading it at its best. So cost $885,000. That's a lot of money just for the stock thing. Now there is no Benny's upgrade or anything crazy like that. So you've purchased the vehicle. You need to get those upgrades. You've seen what we spent. We spent a lot of money. We did. What we spent, about 1.1 million, I think, is really close to about what we ended up getting into this thing by the end. And what you get out of it, is it worth it? That is going to be kind of left up to you, the individual, to decide. Now, if you are a diehard Rapid GT fan, I definitely assume that you would have one of these sitting next to your Rapid GT. And I'd assume that you'd want this thing for even something like free mode, just because simply it is the older model of what some people call the God, the God car, the Rapid GT. I'm not necessarily on that bandwagon, but I do respect the Rapid GT for what it is. It's a good vehicle. I just feel like there's numerous that compete right in the bracket, or even over-compete it. So yes, cost. I have to hit it kind of a little bit more than maybe some people would like. I think that spending $1 million on a drift car, you should be getting a drift car. If you're going to spend that kind of money, you should be getting, or at least a good platform for a drift car. And this, I mean, it is a drift car, but you're going to be limited. You're in that sports classic class, so you are limited to, like, well, if you're going to be in an event, it has to be a sports classic only event, or a race, or whatever you're doing. So you're really limited to free mode if you're going to be, drifting it around with people, which is fine. That comes a time when you're doing that good stuff. But as I said, guys, it is a drift car. You can tell that it's doing just fine. Well, as I crash it, but that's user error again, of course. Got that nice wood grain setup in there. Of course, it's a 5-speed in there, even though, GTA, it doesn't have manual vehicles, which is dumb. Come on now, GTA. Allow us to do it. GTA 6, hashtag GTA 6 manual vehicles. That's what we need. So cost, I have to give it a somewhat average grade. No, a little bit above average. I'm going to give it a 7. But I can't give it any more than that and feel comfortable, because for $1 million you can get like 3 Schwarzers. For $1 million you can build a good portion of the Banshee up, all of the performance upgrades for sure. For $1 million you can have a garage and it filled up or half filled up with cheap drift vehicles that can be picked up on the street. So in all reality, like I said, it kind of comes up to the user, but I can't just be like, oh, you have a bunch of money. This is a 10 because you have unlimited money. Now, it's a 7. I keep in mind, even myself, I'm broke in this game. Would I want to go out and spend money? Well, it's a 7 out of 10 if I'm just looking solely at cost. So, driftability, let's look into that. How drift-worthy is it? Well, it's more drift-worthy, in my opinion, without that spoiler on it. So if you leave it without the spoiler, it's better. But I would say that it's probably double clutchable. It's just a matter of getting the exact right setup that you need, right everything, and then, you know, getting really consistent with that technique in that exact car. So driftability, I will give this, I will give it an 8. I will give it an 8. I think maybe it deserves a little less in my brain, but maybe in some other people's brains it deserves a little more. So I'll go with the 8. So it's given a 7, an 8, and now into efficiency. The one thing I will say is it's an efficient vehicle. I had to stance it up twice. It hasn't given me any issues. I've crashed it a few times. I'm not flinging bumpers off. I'm not flying my hood off. You can have the ability of putting a slicker or stickier tire compound on there, as every vehicle, but you also have the spoiler option, which is pretty fundamental if you want to add in that little bit more well, just add in a little bit more traction just in general. So I'm not going to hit it on anything here, actually. I think this is a fully efficient drift vehicle. If you do decide that it is worth it and you like the driftability, I will give it a 10 on efficiency. It's a fully efficient drift vehicle. So it's a 7, an 8, and a 10. That's 25 out of 30. That's scoring quite high. So if you guys do want to go pick this up and you got the money to spare and you've been wondering, oh, does this thing drift? Well, guess what? You tuned into the right channel. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I appreciate every single one of you for that. And if you're sharing the videos, I truly appreciate you doing that too. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you have not done so. We are a relatively new channel and always looking to grow larger. Join the community, help us grow that as well. Patreon coming out soon for those of you that want to actually support me on the full AdSense sucks. Google's killing YouTube, and therefore it has left us to do things like Patreon. So, as always, guys, I hope you stay happy, stay positive, and we will definitely speak to you next time.